and I want to welcome you once again to our own business school leadership development program. And today's topic is just an exciting one, as Sarah said, leadership and sustainability. Quite a lot to learn from today's session. As she said, my name is Stephen Abba. I'm the head of financial inclusion at Aka Payments Company Limited, and it's my pleasure to moderate today's event, which brings, top personalities from prestigious industries like Mr. Sherry we have today, and likes, to the Rome business. I'm excited about today's program, and we have a special guest in our midst today, and he's no other person than Mr. Sheye Olurotimi, who will be speaking to us on the topic leadership and sustainability. Just before we go, I'll just quickly want to talk about him in a bit, and then I can hand over to him to take it up from there. Sheye Olurotimi is the founder of MSME Africa, a social enterprise working at the intersection of enterprise development, community capacity, and media. MSME Africa is a multifaceted resources platform for micro, small, and medium-sized businesses in Africa. He's a SMIDAN certified and licensed business development service provider for SMMEs and a member of MSME Community for Practice Nigeria Economic Summit Group. Sheye is a knowledge entrepreneur, a certified trainer, versatile learning facilitator, mentor, consultant, and a coach. He is a member of the World Bank's International Finance Corporation, GLC Directory of Training Professionals, and a signatory of the International Finance Corporation, GLC Principles for Learning. He's a UK certified trainer with an international award in delivering training, IADT, from TQ UK, that's Training Qualifications, United Kingdom. He also has a certificate in entrepreneurship and innovation from Scalable and sits on the board of African Foundation for Young Media Professionals. Sheye is also a lead consultant / CEO at Cedar Tribe, a consulting, brand advisory, and training outfit based in Lagos. He emerged as the winner of the Entrepreneur African Prize for Media Innovation in 2021 and was also FATE SME Journalist of the Year 2021. He has served as a mentor, as a consultant, and a coach on a couple of programs and projects, including the Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Program, Cherry Blake Foundation Women in Business Program, the Faith Foundation, Leap Africa SIP, Whitefield Foundation / Coca-Cola SIP and EP programs, MasterCard Foundation Transforming Nigerian Youth Program. This is quite a lot, and we are excited to have him on this session with us today. Mr. Sheye Olurotimi, welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon, and thank you for having me on this program today. Can everybody hear me clearly? Kindly just confirm you can hear clearly, you can see my face, and we're good. You can see me, you can hear me, just confirm in the chat box. I need to be sure I'm not just talking to myself. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I want to say a big thank you to Rome Business School for the opportunity to do this. If I am to be paid 1,000 naira for everyone who has told me I saw your flyer, I got a notification you are speaking for Rome Business School, I will have been a billionaire by now. If I get 1,000 naira for everybody who has reached out. So, I believe this platform is a great opportunity, and we're talking about sustainability and leadership, right? Leadership is something that everybody obviously has heard about. People talk about leadership, people talk about sustainability. But let's look at the concept of sustainability. Then I'll probably just can hear you, and we're happy to have you in light. Okay, I'm also happy to be here doing this with us. Great. So when we talk about sustainability, a lot of things will come to mind. I think I was having a conversation with my wife some days ago regards to some things we need to buy. And she says that if we buy this thing in this particular place, this is the cost. And she doesn't think it's sustainable if we keep doing that. Right? So that's sustainability in an aspect where you feel like, okay, as a business, we have employees and it's our practice to increase salaries every quarter. And so somebody will say that is not a sustainable practice, meaning that financially at some point you might not be able to meet up that demand. That's probably sustainability in one context, right? Then in the last few years, the concept of sustainability talks around so many things, focusing on the environment, focusing on best practice. People talk about sustainable development goals and whatever. So before I go on, anybody want to tell me what is sustainable leadership, right? We talk about sustainable leadership. What comes to your mind? Sustainable leadership. Somebody wants to react. I wouldn't know. Can the participant speak? If you can't speak, then you can type in the chat box. What is sustainable leadership from your own understanding? When you hear the word sustainable leadership, what comes to your mind? Okay, Oluyemisi, you can speak. Oluyemisi, kindly go ahead and speak.
Okay, from my understanding of, sorry, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, from my understanding of sustainable leadership, I would say a kind of leadership that would withstand time, that would stand, something that can withstand the test of time.
Leadership that can withstand the test of time. Okay, so with that leadership that is not just about now, right? It's focused on the future. Great, thank you, Oluyemisi. Let's have Chukwudi. Chukwudi, please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, for me, sustainable leadership is the kind of leadership that outlives the present leader.
It outlives the present leader. That's another brilliant one. Do you have another person? Okay, I have Christian. Christian, please go ahead. Christian Unjoku, kindly go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So by sustainable leadership, we are actually looking at a form of leadership practice that will prioritize maybe long-term environmental, social, and economic features. So it actually has to do with decision making. It has to do with strategy implementation and a whole lot of. So they're actually focusing on a form of long-term achievement on something.
Thank you so much. I love the context you bring into this, the environmental part, and the fact that it's beyond just the business being able to survive, right? That's part of sustainability. So I have quite a couple of things in the chat box. Let me just quickly run through them. A leader that maintains an approach of balance. Somebody says so leadership is basically a leadership approach that focuses on the long-term success and well-being of an the stakeholders and environments, and the type of leader that has made the like of McDonald's, KFC remain till today. Ayodeji says a leadership that has progressive structure. It's a very brilliant class. Leadership of today and tomorrow. Brilliant. Although still raising hand, kindly permit me. I won't be able to attend to more comments for now, right? Kindly just permit me. So quite very brilliant contribution so far, right? Let's go into the meat of the whole thing. Leadership and sustainability. What's the connection, really? The two concepts are really, really connected. Even though the concept of sustainability is probably more recent than leadership. Leadership is as old as man himself. Sustainability is something people started to talk about some years ago, right? And the truth is that the two of them are connected. One of the hallmarks of great leaders is that they have sustainability at the back of their mind. and not just at the back of their mind, also in practice. And sustainability should not be taken to mean that running a business that can outlive you only. It's a good one. It's also about looking at the impact of the business on the environment, on the economy, what is the social impact, what has society got to gain, and a whole lot of other things. So I'll explain some more. If you want to promote sustainable practices, your leadership has to be very effective. That's very, very key. Your leadership has to be very, very effective. And leadership is essential for guiding and implementing sustainability. And what it means is that we cannot talk about sustainability if leadership is weak. If leadership is not effective, sustainability does not happen. And we talk about SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Right, before SDGs, we have MDGs, right? That's Millennium Development Goal. But after the MDGs, we have the SDGs. And the interesting thing is that after 2030, the SDGs would be phased out, right? Sustainable Development Goal. And that's why when people ask you about your business, and they're not just asking you about what profit you are making, they're also asking about the social impact, right, that you are making. But we cannot achieve the development goals if we are not having a conversation like this. If we are not talking about sustainable leadership, SDGs would not be achieved. And we have just about 6 years. And because 2030 is the time frame, and I'm not sure whether the SDGs will be extended for more years, but 2030 is the set time to measure how much we have achieved with the sustainable development goals. And I'm sure almost every one of us on this call should be conversant with the SDGs. So, does somebody want to tell me what's their favorite SDG and why it is their favorite? What's your favorite sustainable development goal? So we are conversant with that time. Anybody wants to talk about it? What's your favorite SDG and why is it your favorite SDG? So let me just show you what the SDGs are. I'm sure we know them. We have 17 sustainable development goals according to United Nations. Different people work in different sectors and they say this is what we are focused on. For instance, in MSME Africa, where I am the founder, we are focused on SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth. We are focused on SDG 1, no poverty. We're also focused on SDG 10, reduced inequality. And that's why most of the things we do is focus on helping entrepreneurs to become better, helping to grow the economy, helping to ensure that people are able to earn a lot more, helping to also ensure that no gender is discriminated against in the process of making money, right? So somebody says their favorite is poverty reduction. That's definitely talking about SDG 1. SDG 1 is
Okay, I think the network just threw him out. Please give us a second while we try to place a call to him.
Okay. So sorry, I wouldn't know what happened, and then I came back, but I couldn't unmute myself. Kindly make me co-host, please, so that I can always unmute myself. Kindly make me co-host so I can unmute. Apologies for that. I just found out that I was talking to myself for some seconds. So we're talking about SDGs, and people are talking about their favorite SDGs, right? And then, so let me share my screen again. What's your favorite SDG, and why is it your favorite? What is it about that tickles your fancy? That's where I stopped. So the various SDGs, we say we have 1 to 17, and I've seen quite a lot of comment. SDG 9, SDG 1, SDG 2, SDGs this and that. So the truth is this: these SDGs are great, but the news that I have for you is that they will not be achieved if leadership is not effective. And so this is the crux of this conversation. We need to achieve these goals, but we need people to drive them in our different sector. So somebody is saying, I'm a fashion designer. What's my business with SDG? You can be a fashion designer, and your focus is to use recyclable products for your fashion design. I know somebody who produces clothes, who produces bags from things that are recycled, and that's making social impact, right? Another person, a member of my MSME Africa community, is selling elubo, the typical elubo that everybody sells, right? Yam flour. But she tells you that she's solving the problem of food poisoning. And she will tell you the story of how her daughter consumed yam flour, had food poisoning, and because of that, she decided she's going to start producing yam flour that is healthy. And that's solving a problem, a social problem, making social impact while you're also making profit, and also ensuring that you are putting in place best practice, all right? So SDGs are great, SDGs are good, but if we are not taking our place in leadership and if we are not doing the right thing, these SDGs will just become a mirage. So I need to quickly run now so that we can get the whole meat. What is sustainable leadership? It is basically a leadership approach that prioritizes long-term health and success of the organization, while also considering the well-being of the environment, society, and the future generation. So the question is, that business that you're doing, that you are making a lot of money, and you can be sure that the business will be around for the next 10 years, 20 years. But have you also considered the impact of the business on the environment? Have you considered the impact of the business on other people? And that's what we're talking about. Sustainable leadership is not just about what is in it for me, it's also about what is in it for the society, what's in it for the environment, what's in it for the future generation. If we are able to capture all of that, then you're on your path to sustainable leadership. Let's look at leadership and sustainability and how we can marry the two of them together. Leadership, for it to be effective, has to be visionary. A visionary leader is an effective leader. A leader who is also effective has to be inspiring. You have to be able to motivate other people who must be able to see you and say, because of you, I want to become this. Because of you, I feel like doing this. They will just say, you inspire me, right? Effective leadership also has to be responsive. What are we saying? When it comes to sustainability, now we look at the environmental part of it, we look at the social part of it, we also look at the economic part of it. And I want us to pay attention to this very slide. Environmental part of this talks about the conservation of natural resources, reduction of pollution, protection of ecosystem. So when you are into furniture production and you make money from the trees that are taken from the forest and you are not talking about how to replace them, then something is lacking in your leadership. You are in a place where you are making money, but you constitute nuisance to that environment because of noise pollution coming from your business. That is working against sustainable leadership, right? What about the social part of it? You have your way with everything that you're doing, but you're not promoting social justice. Because you have the police at your beck and call. If anybody does anything, the next thing you place a call to the police and they arrest the person, they detain them, and you feel like because of that, you've been able to sustain your business, you don't tolerate any nonsense. But where is the place of social justice? Because it is not every case that you get people locked up for. Right? That might be working for you, but have you considered the implication of that? That person you have taken off their business for the next 5 days because you don't want them to disturb your business, because you can call people in authority. Social justice, human rights, community development, that's another angle to sustainability. What about the economic part of it? Responsible management of resources, reduction of waste, and promotion of sustainable growth. So I had somebody talking on, I saw somebody made a post on Facebook some days ago that she went to buy items in a particular outlet in Lagos, and they're asking her to pay for the bag, for the polythene bag, right? For the plastic bag that we're going to use. Well, like, what kind of rubbish? But I'm saying that is good practice, right? Because that's what obtains even in other clients. If you want to buy items, if you want them to give you a plastic bag, they ask you to pay for it. Why? So that you will understand that the environment needs to be protected. And what it means is that you will recycle that particular bag. The next time you are going to that supermarket, you go with your own bag from the house. You are recycling, you are using it again because you don't want to pay. That's forcing you to take care of the environment, right? Because the more we spread those items, the more we use those products, the more we are not thinking about recycling, the more we are working against sustainable leadership. So in essence, sustainable leadership is just leadership that takes into consideration the impact of our practices, the impact of our action and inaction on the environment, on the society, on the people, and the future generation. So you need to ask yourself, that thing that we're doing in my organization, how is it going to impact the future generation? Are they going to benefit from it? Or it's just about now, 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 now? So I have a case study I want to quickly run us through, and then we'll come back and close, right? Let's talk about, let's look at the case study of Unilever. Let me just stop here. There's a case study I want us to look at. I will read out the case study, then we would also, what I will also make us do is to discuss it, right? So, leadership, sustainability, why is it important? Why should we pay attention to it? And then what do we need to take out of it? That's basically what we're talking about today, right? So I'm trying to go to that other document. Just give me a few seconds. But you cannot talk about sustainable leadership without talking about what is the impact of the things that I'm doing. How is it going to affect me now? How is it going to affect the other people? And what can I stop doing? What should I stop doing? And why should I continue doing it? So what should I start? What should I stop? What should I continue? Those are the questions we need to ask. So let me share my screen. Just go through that case study for Unilever. So it's a Word document. Just endeavor to read it out. I hope we can see it. So company overview. Unilever is a global consumer goods company with products ranging from food and beverages to cleaning agents, personal care items. The company operates in over 190 countries and serves 2.5 billion consumers every day. Look at it. Some company is serving 2.5 billion consumers every day. And we have about 7 billion or 8 billion people on earth, which means that the action or inaction of this company has long-standing and fighting impact on the people. If they don't embrace sustainability or sustainable leadership, it's going to have a lot of effect on a large number of people. What's the challenge? In the early 2000s, Unilever faced significant sustainability challenges. The company's extensive operation had substantial environmental impact, including high carbon emissions, water usage, and waste generation. There was also increasing pressure from consumers and stakeholders for greater corporate responsibility and sustainability practices. So we cannot talk about sustainable leadership without talking about CSR. Now, what was the strategy that Unilever adopted? They call it the Unilever Sustainable Living Plan, USLP. In 2010, Unilever adopted USLP under the leadership of their CEO, Paul Polman. and they aim to decouple the country's growth from its environmental impact while increasing positive social impact. What was the focus? Improving health and well-being, helping more than 1 billion people to improve their health and well-being, reducing environmental impact, halving the environmental footprint of the making and use of Unilever products. Then the third thing, enhancing the livelihood of billions of people as the company grows. Those are the things they wanted to do. How did they go about it, right? Which is the meat of the whole thing. How did they go about it? Number one, sustainable sourcing. Unilever committed to sourcing 100% of its agricultural raw materials sustainably. By 2020, 2% of Unilever agricultural raw material were sustainably sourced. The product innovation. The company focused on developing products that require less water, energy, and packaging. Less water, energy, and packaging. Can you see that? Because the more they use water, the less water is available to the environment. For some other organization, that's not their business. They can find water, they will use water. They use less water, less energy, and less packaging. For example, concentrated laundry detergent that reduce water and packaging usage. Then what is again the energy efficiency? Unilever implemented measures to improve energy efficiency across its operation, reducing carbon emissions by over 50% per ton of production since 2008. For some of us, the reason why we are so conscious of energy now is the band A thing. So I'm on band A now. And it has so much taught me and every other person around me that you don't actually need to put on the light a lot of time. And then this is time when you now call everybody. What are you doing? Why are you in that room? Why did you put on your light? So everybody come here. Let's come and have a discussion in this room so that we are not having light on in different places. So everybody's trying to conserve energy. Because number one, it saves you cost. It's also very, very friendly for the environment. Number four thing that Unilever did is water stewardship. Initiative to reduce water usage included developing dry shampoo and water-saving devices. They also embraced waste reduction, and then they also concentrated on making social impact, and that's the CSR I'm talking about. They concentrated on making social impact. What was the outcome from this? Environmental outcome number one, Unilever reported significant reduction in carbon emissions, water usage, and waste. By 2019, the company achieved a 43% reduction in CO2 emissions and 39% reduction in water abstraction per ton of production compared to 2008. Also, in terms of economic performance, despite the focus on sustainability, they were still able to grow financially, right? So, sustainable, they grew 69% faster than the rest of the businesses in 2018. Their sustainable brand grew 69% faster than the rest of the business in 2018. What's the social benefit? Over 1.3 billion have been reached by the company's health and hygiene program by 2020. So they developed a program and they've reached 1.3 billion people. That's about 1/5 or 1/6 of the world's population. And then what also is the impact again? Recognition and influence. They became recognized leader in sustainability, influencing industry standard and practice globally. Their MD became a vocal advocate for corporate sustainability, inspiring other companies to adopt similar strategies. So, can somebody tell me one thing they can learn from this practice by Unilever before I go back to the rest of my slide? We can see this case study by Unilever, how they decided that they wanted to embrace sustainable leadership and sustainable practices and the kind of things they did. Can somebody tell me one thing they can learn from this? Anybody? You want to speak, you want to type in the chat box, that's fine. What one thing can you learn from this practice by Unilever? Anybody, please? Anybody who is there, who is talking? Raise your hand if you want to speak so I can allow you on mute. Okay, so Idowu says they are planning for the future. Yeah, that's it. Felix says they were intentional about it. And that's the major thing. Intentionality is at the back of sustainable leadership. It must be intentional. You must have a strategy driving it. You must set out your strategy from the very beginning to say, this is what we want to achieve. And this is how we're going to go about it. And these are the expected outcomes. Okay, somebody said they were trailblazers and they made a good out of the road. They made good out of the bad situation, right? They are planning for the future. Always have a sustainable plan within your company. Very important. They were determined. Yeah, they were determined. I didn't say that again. They were intentional about it. So they were determined to make changes for the future. They were intentional and continuous reduction of negative impact of their businesses. So the truth is this: every one of us have things that we can look at with regards to how we can ensure sustainability. What is that practice in your organization that you think can get better without focusing too much on profit, right? Without focusing too much on how much am I going to take home for this or what's the need for me? You want to ask yourself, how does this impact future generation? How does this what does it translate to in terms of social justice? How does this impact the next person sitting with me, right? So those are things we need to always consider. And if you are like Unilever, you would consider these things, and then the environment say thank you to you. And everybody will be happy because you are making the world a better place. Right. So let me just go back to my slide. What are the characteristics of sustainable leadership? What are the things that mark sustainable leadership? Okay. What are the characteristics of sustainable leadership? What do we see that points us in the direction of sustainable leadership? That's what we're talking about. And number one is long-term thinking. Long-term thinking, very, very important that our thinking is not just for now, it has to be long-term. It has to be long-term. Yeah. So the number one thing is long-term thinking. Am I thinking for now or I'm thinking for the future? You need to ask yourself, am I thinking for just now? So long-term thinking means you are focusing on lasting success rather than short-term gains. You want to ask yourself, so the plan that we have made in my company, it will allow us to make profit, but is it going to allow the other people to be able to sleep well? Is it going to allow them to be able to say, this guy is it's a leader indeed, right? So long-term thinking is at the back of sustainable leadership. Number two is holistic approach. I want to look at the interconnectedness of the economic, social, and environmental factor. A lot of time, what we focus on is the economic part of it. When we talk about sustainability, we are saying we're looking at something that will ensure that this company is still still surviving for the next 50 years, 100 years. Wonderful, great. But have you thought about your corporate social responsibility? Have you thought about reducing waste? Have you thought about ensuring that you don't print until you need them? Can you have a paperless office? That's part of what we're talking about. So you must be able to link the economic, the social, and the environmental factors together, just like Unilever did. They still made profit. In fact, they made more profit, but the environment became better for it, right? And they also developed a CSR program through which they were able to reach 1.3 billion people with their program. What about stakeholder engagement? You want to engage all the stakeholders and see what's the impact of your practices are. Sometimes you don't get to see until you interview that person in your environment, you interview that community leader, you interview your employees, and they tell you this is the impact of this, and this is what we think you should do. Another thing is ethical decision making. You want to prioritize fairness, transparency, and responsible practices. You want to ensure that when you are making decisions, you are ethical about it. And this is the rule of thumb for me. Whatever thing you're doing and you're not able to say it outside, it's not ethical, right? It might not be ethical. For instance, some people will say it's not wrong for me to give somebody money for giving me business in their company. But if you're not able to announce to everybody that I actually gave this person 1 million naira because I got a contract of 300 million from their company. Are you able to say it outside? If you're not able to say it outside, that is unethical, right? So ethical practices are things that we should all embrace. Why? Because if you are not ethical in your practices, in your business, and you find your way of making profit by virtue of bank what's it called now, bribery and some other things. What you are doing is that you are getting an unfair advantage over the next vendor. You are getting an unfair advantage over your competitor, and that's not a sustainable practice. Because what happens is that that person that you gave 1 million as kickback, the next time they have a contract, they will ask you to send in your quote, and they will also tell you what the quote from other people are, so that you can quote something that is favorable, and they will give you the contract. You're having an unfair advantage over that, and that is not ethical. So when you talk about sustainability, it's a whole lot of things. It's not just about the environment now, or you ensuring that you're in business for 100 years. It's also about what is the impact of this on other people and the future generations. Sustainability also involves innovation and adaptability. Being able to say this is what we used to do, but we need to embrace this now, because I mean, what was obtainable 15 years ago is probably not obtainable now. Now we talk about a lot around climate change, a lot about the circularity of the economy, and a lot of other things. A lot of things are changing. So you must be able to adapt in a way that you remain sustainable, in a way that you are still environmental friendly, in a way that you are also paying attention to the social side of things, right? Accountability and transparency is very important. Employee empowerment and development is very key. So when you are focusing on the environment, focusing on social justice, you also need to focus on your employees. You can't neglect them because they're also stakeholders and they are affected by your actions and inaction. So a sustainable leader is thinking about what is the benefit to all stakeholders. What is the impact of my decision, my action and inaction to all the different stakeholders, the community, the employees, the suppliers, government, media, immediate, the host community, and every other person that is involved. And of course, they are also not neglecting the bottom line, right? Because if you are not paying attention to the bottom line, the company will die, and then nobody will be talking about sustainability anymore. What about community involvement and social responsibility? Almost every respected organization has a budget for social responsibility, CSR. In fact, a lot of them have gone ahead to create foundations. So you have MTN Foundation, Dangote Foundation, and many other organizations that have created foundation. What are they trying to do? They want to give back to the society. So they have a foundation that caters to providing health to the people. For some other foundation to provide vocational skills, some other, they do a whole lot of things. Why are they doing that? Because they want to be responsible. They also want to ensure that the environment or the community where they are doing their business can say thank you to Unilever, thank you to Dangote, thank you to MTN. Because of these people, our children are able to go to school because they built schools for us. Our children are able to learn skills. And you know what happens when you do such a thing? Maybe if you have not provided those skills to those children in that community, they will be the one to come and rob your employees, right? Or they will be the one to come and vandalize your properties. But because of that, you are able to give them something to sustain them, something for them to live by. And so you are taking them off the street, and they are not part of the statistic when it comes to people that are committing crime. You are solving a problem for yourself. You're also solving a problem for the society. And that's what sustainable leadership is all about, right? Ethical decision making, I've talked about that. The benefits of sustainable leadership, I've touched on it. Number one, enhance reputation and brand value. People will respect your business and your person if they find out that you are taking into consideration sustainability. You are not just about what is in it for me. You're also asking questions about what is in it for all the different stakeholders in the environment. What's the impact of this thing on the society, on the environment, on the future generation? What do we need to stop? What do we need to continue? What do we need to start as an organization and even as an individual who wants to be called sustainable leader? Increase efficiency and cost saving, and that's the truth. Better risk management and resilience also comes with sustainable leadership. And of course, you are contributing to a more sustainable future. You are contributing your quota. You don't want to be that person that just wants to take and then you don't care what happens after all. So if you are driving on the road and you throw things from your car, you are damaging the environment. If you have that huge waste, you put it in the boot of your car, and then when you're driving, or on the bridge, on Tomiland Bridge, you park your car, you dump that thing in the lagoon. You are not contributing to it. That's not sustainable leadership because you are damaging something. You are contributing to blocking the drainage somewhere. You are contributing to ensuring that there is flooding. But when you think about all of these things, before you take the next action, you ask yourself, what is the impact on the people? What's the impact on the environment? What's the impact on the future generation? Because that's what sustainable practice is all about. Now let's look at sustainable business, right? Business sustainability is basically about everything I've talked about. It's about meeting the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So we complain a lot about what has happened in the past and why we are suffering from what our leaders did or failed to do. So the question is, the generation that is coming after us, what would they say about us? What benefit are we getting now that has the tendency to affect the future generation negatively? What practices are we embracing that will not augur well for the society? Right? And so if you want to look at key strategies for achieving business sustainability, you want to look at things around reducing resource consumption, implement sustainable supply chain, and some other things, right? Reducing energy and resource consumption. And reducing your energy consumption is not just because you're on plan A like myself now, it's because you understand that everything is contributing to global warming. You put on a bulb, 60 watt, 80 watt, and that bulb is there 30 days in a month. You are contributing to global warming, period. And that is not good, right? Or there is a particular thing that comes from your factory, there is smoke coming out, and it's affecting the environment. People are not saying anything about it. In the next 20, 30 years, that smoke, that thing goes into the bloodstream of people and it causes diseases for them. But you don't care because you are making money. That is not good, right? Then engaging the stakeholders is very important so that they can tell you what impact you are making and what they want you to do. What about circularity of the economy? That's talking about recycling products. So somebody picks up waste, they convert that plastic waste into shoes, into bags, into this and that. What they are trying to do is to ensure that things get better for the environment and for the people. Of course, sustainable practice can help companies to comply with regulations and avoid reputational damage for environmental and social. If you're in Lagos, I'm sure you have seen properties or buildings, you just see sticker from LASEPA or from Loma or which other regulatory agency saying that you need to do this and that because you have contravened a particular rule with regards to the environment. But I don't want us to misunderstand this whole thing. Sustainability is not just about environmental growth. It's not just about economic growth. It encompasses even social justice. So you have a system for dealing with people in court because you are close to government, or you have soldiers. So somebody offends you now, you call military guys and they deal with that person and you are very happy. That is not social justice because the person has not been taken to court, right? The person has not been tried in the law court to say that they are guilty, but you are using your power and you feel good about it. That is social justice that you are not paying attention to. So in essence and in summary, sustainable leadership focuses on blending economic, environmental, social goals together and also ensuring that the future generation us because we have done things the way we should do them. The last thing I'm going to talk about are the challenges to sustainable leadership. Number one thing is balancing your short-term with the long-term goal. So in the short term, you want to make profit, which we understand. That business needs to make profit. Or are you making profit at the expense of the environment? When you make profit and 10 people fall sick because of the smoke that comes from the factory, you still think that that profit is what you should only focus on, right? So you see Coca-Cola, they will tell you, you see the people that produces alcohol, they will tell you to drink responsibly. Why are they doing that? Because they know that even if they make all the profit and you are not drinking responsibly, it is not a good thing. So they tell you to drink responsibly. The guys who do carbonated soft drink will tell you not to take too much of it because might be prone to diabetes. Why are they doing all of this? Because they are demonstrating sustainable leadership. They care about your health as much as they want to sell and make money. Another obstacle is overcoming resistance to change. A lot of people don't want to change. So by the time you tell people in your office from tomorrow or from today that we want to operate a paperless office, don't print except it is totally necessary. Some people still want to print 20 pages of document that they will never need. Why they can just send it via email or just turn it to a PDF document and share it to everybody. So people want to hold meeting, they will print out all the documents and give to everybody sitting on the table. Whereas everybody has their cell phone, they have their laptop, they can check it. And so for every paper that you are wasting, you know that tree, that is talking about deforestation, right? So people need to be able to embrace change. And then, of course, there are complex global challenges that we need to understand and be able to know how to address them. Ensuring equitable access to resources is another thing. Sometimes people want to embrace sustainable leadership, but the access to the resources, the know-how, and the opportunities are not there. And of course, continuously innovating and improving sustainability practice is something that has to keep up. And we need to keep getting updated about sustainable practices. There are some things you are doing now, but in some developed climes, those things are not obtainable anymore and they are not sustainable. So you need to keep abreast of what is happening globally so that it can be better and well informed. So this is where I'm going to stop. I really do hope that somebody has been able to pick things from this and we will all commit to embracing sustainable practices in our businesses. So our focus should not just be on profit, it should be on social impact, it should be on the environment, it should be on social justice, and every other thing in between. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Shea, for that very insightful presentation. Personally, I've picked a whole lot from this session, and I hope the other participants have also done that. So quickly, we'll just get into the questions because of time, and I'll just want to open up the floor for questions. So if you have any questions, you could just do well to indicate by raising up your hand, or you just type in the chat box, and I could just read it out, and we'll just take that from there. Festus, please go ahead. Your hand is up quickly. Festus Wabo. Sarah, please, can we unmute him? Maybe he's trying to speak. Festus, if you are speaking, you're muted. Sarah, please, can we unmute Festus? He's muted.
All right.
Festus, you can unmute.
Okay, Festus, go ahead.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for that. At least it was very, very insightful. A quick one. For a service-based business that works remotely, in the line of thinking sustainability, what would you say they should be looking at? Because in this case, apparently there are no effects whatsoever to the society. But what can a company that works remotely, in what direction should they be looking at when it comes to sustainability? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. Let's look at a typical person that works from home. They have a desk, they have a laptop, they are working from home. They probably need to put on their bulb when they're working. So if you work 24 hours from home and you use 9 of those hours working from home, for instance, and your bulb or your lightning is a 60-watt bulb, you know that's one area where you want to look at, for instance, right? So I just want us to actually think deeply about this. There are social impacts to everything that we do, and there is always a sustainability angle to it. So do you want to ask yourself, how am I contributing to global warming, for instance, by virtue of the gadgets and the things that I use? Is there something that can save more energy that I want to use? That's probably from the environmental part of it. Also, in the way you go about your business, we talk about social justice, we talk about ethical practice. How do I embrace ethical practices in my business dealing with my client, for instance? How do I ensure that ethics is at the back whatever I am doing, and I'm not cutting corners, not giving kickbacks, for instance, not doing things that can affect the other people negatively. I'm not competing in a way that that portrays the fact that I'm demarketing the other people, because those are not sustainable practices, right? They are not demonstrating. So those are things you can look at as a service-based business. Just look at all your processes and ask yourself, what are the things I can do better? And how does it impact the environment, the social system, and of course, the future generation? What I'm doing now, is it impacting future generation negatively or positively? So if you look at all of them, I'm sure there are things you can look at. Yeah, you use solar renewable energy, then you're also affecting the environment positively. That's another. Somebody just answered that question. Thank you very much for
Yeah, the
that,
group.
Anthony. Yeah, so that's a way to look at it.
All right, thank you very much for that response, sir. So let me just quickly take this one from the groups. Odubanjo is saying, in a retail business that prints receipts for all working customers, how can they think of going paperless? Maybe once you give
Retail
a
business
response
that
to that,
prints
then we'll have
receipt for
Sewesi
all
go.
working customers, how can they think of going paperless? Can you ask them, so instead of printing receipt for them, is there a way you can send that particular document to them, WhatsApp or even via email, while they are still there? You tell them, don't worry, you get your receipt now. And you can automate it so that whenever you do the input, whatever. I mean, I remember there was a time I went for health check. Yeah, I could still remember at one laboratory somewhere in Lagos. I mean, I filled in all my details on the system, and in a few seconds, I got whatever I needed to do on my phone via WhatsApp, because I had inputted when I was registering, when I was fixing that appointment. I already put in all my details. They asked for my WhatsApp, and in a few seconds, they sent me what I needed to do to take to the next office, do all my check. There was no paper involved, so you can actually go paperless. Just look at all the processes. Wherever you need to embrace technology, and you can actually go totally paperless.
So going digital is also a way of embracing sustainability. I hear you. All right, let's have Sewesi. Your hand has been up. Would you kindly ask your question, please? Sewesi, can you go ahead, unmute yourself
Yes,
and ask
okay,
your
yeah.
question?
Yes, please. Thanks
All
very
right.
much for a very insightful lecture. When you talked about the characteristics of sustainable leadership, you mentioned something about bottom line. I didn't quite get it. I didn't get the way in which you were referring to bottom line. So I want you to kindly go over that. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think I do. So, I was saying that when we talk about bottom line, of course, you are talking about how this impacts your financial performance as a business. When you talk about bottom line, there's top line, there's bottom line. When you look at your statement of
Yes.
bottom
Yeah.
line talks about profit that you're doing well, basically. So I'm saying that sustainable leadership also ensures that bottom line is taken care of. It's not just about, okay, I want to save the environment, I want to save the world, I want to be a change maker, I want to make social impact, I want to do this and that. You also want to tell yourself that even in the midst of all of this, just like Unilever that we use as a case study, you also are still making progress. Whatever sustainable leadership initiative you want to embrace, you must also look at how this impacts your ability to make money, how it impacts your bottom line. If for instance, it's going to erode all your profit, you want to look at another way going about it, because sustainable leadership is not synonymous to making losses. And it's not an excuse to say, because you are trying to observe sustainability, that's why our company is now making profit. No, you need to look at everything holistically. That's why we say it has to be holistic. You want to look at the economic, the social, and the environmental side of things and balance everything together. That's what I said.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shea. And I mean, because of time, I think we just have 2 minutes before you go. I want us to just take one quickly before, I mean, we just appreciate you and you leave. There's a question on the chat which is quite interesting. And Oluwaseyi says, sorry, that has just, I can't see that anymore. Hold on. He said, for inherited businesses or so, with unprofessional, untrained, and ignorant employees, with the fact that most of them are very old hands, yet can't keep to the new rules of the company after so much talk. Please, what can you do? Oluwaseyi is asking that question.
Could you go over the question again? I'm trying to.
He said, please, for an inherited business with unprofessional, untrained, ignorant employees, with the fact that most are very old hands, yet can't keep to the new rules of the company after so much talk, what can you do? I think he's trying to speak to ethics and all of.
Okay, I get. So you have people who
Yeah.
just don't want to comply, they don't want to embrace change, and they will tell you that even before you were born, this is what we have been doing, and we've been doing it. So, what you need to do, you won't get tired of reorienting them. Yeah, there's something called reorientation. And then when you are doing reorientation for them, sometimes you are not talking at it from the angle of I know things better. You're talking from the angle of this is the benefit to you. A lot of people want to see what's the need for me. For instance, you want to people to embrace a paperless environment in that business where people are on. You tell them that for every paper that you see, you get 10 naira. I tell you tomorrow, nobody will print again. So I know a person who does a recycling business. You know what she does? He tells the local women in that environment to pick bottles and bring it to our factory where she will convert it. For every bottle you bring, you get 10 naira. Those people fall over themselves. You can incentivize them. If they see something in it for them, they will embrace it. I know of a school in a slum, and the school fees is paid in bottles, in plastics. You can confirm it. So if your child wants to come to school, every single day you give them something that is recyclable. That is the school fee. So if you give your child maybe 2 bottles, 3 bottles per day, that is what admitted into school. So the parents will go and look for bottles that are wasting away, that is meant to block drainage. They will go and pick it and give to their children. And then somebody takes to the fact that they recycle it. So maybe you want to introduce some form of incentives that would make them comply. You might want to start with that, but don't get tired of reorientation. Don't get tired of it. And at some point, you might want to take a decision of letting some people go if you have to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I like that final part. I mean, if all efforts are put in and change is not forthcoming, just let them go. And that's what every Chelsea fan will advocate, higher and fire. On a lighter note. All right. So I don't know if you have time for one more question. Adedayo has his hand up for a
Okay,
while.
let's have it quickly.
Okay, Adedayo, please go ahead quickly, then we can take it up from there. Adedayo, can you ask your question now?
Can you hear me?
Very well,
Clearly.
sir. Please go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We live in a continent and in a country where corruption is deeply entrenched. In fact, it has become institutionalized at every phases of the economy and the society, both the government, the public sector, private sector, whatever. And it's like to do business with clean hands, talking about ethics, doing it in righteousness, with good intention. You just want to do your business and go home without getting corrupted. It's gradually becoming impossible in this society. Even the law enforcement agents are not exemption. And we have seen people who stood for what was right and their business was dying gradually. How do we, there is no way we can talk about sustainability leadership sustainability without talking about this corruption. Government coming, government go. It's like all of them have been overwhelmed by this problem, and it's like it's gradually looking insurmountable. In fact, people are dodging it. What do we do to address these
Okay.
challenges in order to
Thank you so
sustain
very
our
much, sir. It's a very big question because I actually agree with you that corruption in our part of the world is systemic and institutionalized. Such that even if you want to do what is right, you meet a lot of obstacles. And a lot of people have actually caved in. They had great intentions, they didn't want to be corrupt, but when they meet a lot of obstacles, cave in. But the truth is this, two wrongs don't make a right. And then we also have been told not to follow the majority to do evil. I remember we were taught that in primary school, secondary school, and even up to now, we are teaching our. I would say in your little corner, do what you can do so that you don't become part of that status. I've lost businesses before because somebody was making some funny demands that we could not meet. There was a particular one that made some demands. I tried not to respond to it. I got that business, but I know that was the last business of that company. Next time they wanted me to come and do business, they said you have to do this and that. I said I cannot. So sometimes you'll have to make some sacrifices because we want to see a better. Because we don't have a right to complain about corruption, about things happening the wrong way if you have also joined them to do because you see everybody's doing it. So in our own little corners, let's see what we can do to demonstrate sustainable leadership. It's not going to be easy. It's not the most convenient thing to do, but it's just our own country, especially to the future generation that we've been talking about. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for that feedback. I mean, we can only continue being the best we can and then doing the right things at the right time. And then gradually we expect that that change will get to trickle down to every member of the organization. Thanks so much for your time. On behalf of all the participants, we wish to sincerely appreciate you for taking our time to deliver this very, very insightful lecture to everyone. I'm sure we've learned a whole lot from this session. For me personally, I'll be more conscious in terms of, managing waste and disposing waste and all of that. So, I mean, we are grateful, we are excited, we've learned a lot, and we hope to see you again on these subsequent sessions, in due time. Thank you very much, sir, and we wish you a beautiful day ahead from here. So at
Thank
this
you very much
juncture,
for having me.
you're welcome, sir. I want to call on Idowu to make some other few announcements, and then before we can quickly wrap up. Thank you so much for having me.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's been a pleasure being on this section today. Our sincere appreciation goes to the keynote speaker, Mr. Sheye Olurotimi, and the moderator, Mr. Stephen Abba. Thank you so much. This is the second time of moderating our webinars for the Business Leadership Development Program. So also sincere appreciations to the audience for staying by. You would all agree with me that it's been a very insightful section today, learning about how you can also be conscious of your environment as you do your business and make your profit. So we've come to the end of today's webinar. This is a webinar in the series of webinars we have for the Business Leadership Development Program. And I tell you, the value you're getting from here is just a bit of what you'll be getting if you're fully into the program proper. So we're talking about Rome Business School, an institution that has a cumulative of 20 master's programs. Okay, and then we also offer a DBA program, that's a doctorate of business administration. Okay, so for prospects on this call, this is the right time for you to reach out to your advisor, reach out to your admission advisor that is facilitating and also guiding you with the admission process to conclude on the admission process and come on board. And for our students, you would agree with me that this is of value, and we usually have this. The schedule for the subsequent webinars in the month of June will be shared with you in due course. And this is also an avenue for me to officially invite you to our open day, which will be on the 1st of June 2024 at 11 a.m. on site. That's the satellite campus of Rome Business School in Nigeria. That's precisely at number 10B, Abimbola Okunuga of Arashodipo, Ikeja, Jare, Lagos. Okay, so thank you so much for your time, and I wish you the very best.
All right, thank you so much, Adeleke. Career service, I'm sure that brings us to, I don't know if you have any other words from there before I close. Chiamaka.
Good afternoon, everybody. Please, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Stephen. Thank you for moderating this program for us today. And Mr. Sheye in absentia, we thank you too for speaking to our students today, even in your busy schedule. You still honor our invitation. Thank you so much. So to everyone on the call, thank you for joining as well. You can do well to fill the survey. I see a lot of students requesting for the video recording and the slides. Do well to fill the survey because it's from there that we can get your email. And please, when filling the survey, put out your correct email address because it's via email that will send the communication. And other persons that are still requesting for old recordings, you can access it on our YouTube channel, Rome Business School Nigeria. So Mr. Sheye is also on LinkedIn. He's one of our coach for some of our students that have already registered for the coaching program. You would meet him very well. He's our coach here in Rome Business School Nigeria. And for some that have not registered, you can also do well to register. We sent out the communication earlier via your email. So you can do well to register and join the section as well. And this is also a means for me to introduce our career fair that will be coming up on the 6th of July. For students, we've sent communication for registration on your different WhatsApp platforms. So you do well to register for the fair. We'll be having a lot of companies around and we'll be having a lot of panelists. So you can't miss out on this. So please do well to register for the fair as well. And our speaker for today, Mr. Sheye, he's also on LinkedIn for some of you that still have questions. I can see some persons dropping email address. Please fill the survey, The survey has been sent to the chat box. You can fill it. You will get your email and would also send the recording and the slides to you. So like I was saying, our speaker, Mr. Sheye, is on LinkedIn. You can do well to connect with him on LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn as Sheye Olurotimi. And Mr. Stephen as well is on LinkedIn. You can also connect with him. He's one of our students here in Rome Business School in Masters of Business Administration. So please do well to connect with him as well. And let's grow our connection. And also someone is saying, Tembi, the venue for the career fair is not here in Rome Business School. It's actually at Providence Hotel, Ikeja. So for some of you that are in Lagos and some of you that can come around, you can also register and come for the event. Once again, thank you so much for joining this section and we'll be seeing you in our next section. And on behalf of the Dean, Professor Agusa, and every other staff in Rome Business School Nigeria, Career Service, especially our head, Miss Sarah Ugu, Justina, Victor, our back-end IT specialist, and the people that are anchoring this program here, back-end, Apariogu Samuel, Francis, and every other person. Thank you so much for organizing this program today and making it a successful one. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Have a lovely day, everyone. Thank you.